Okay, how does a Scrum Master facilitate product backlog refinement? Well, ideally they don't. Here's an idea. You have a customer, a product owner, call them what you will, okay, and a bunch of developers. Wouldn't it be great if they could all get along? You have a product owner coming in and talking about the new items on their product backlog, the stuff that they want to add to the product, but they need a bit more help understanding where it appears in the order of interest. And you have developers who want to help them, so they're going to have that conversation, they're going to ask questions, they're going to throw ideas around. If that's all working, you don't need to be there. A Scrum Master, what are you doing? You've got a team that is playing well together. Get out of the room. Go do something more useful. There's plenty of stuff around the organisations that we work in that could use your help. Maybe there's a development director out there who needs a bit of a better steer around how we test, how we approach problems. Go do that. Now, if your team isn't there and actually they don't play nicely or they don't know what they're doing yet, your role is to be in that refinement, be in the room and help and support people through the process. So it starts before refinement. You need to be with the product owner, helping them understand the purpose of refinement, what a good backlog item looks like, how to communicate with their team, which sounds trivial, but many product owners don't understand or forget that the team don't necessarily speak the business language. They speak a very technical language, and everybody knows that we don't engage them in that because you're going to get lost in 30 seconds. But professionals in other disciplines forget they have a similar language themselves. So be there. You're not telling them what to do or how to do it particularly. You're just advising them how to get ready for the meeting. So do they have the items that they want to talk about? Do they have enough understanding of those items? Are there any questions they can immediately see that maybe they can fire off to the relevant parties? Do they need to invite somebody else in to better represent the problem that needs discussing? Okay. So before refinement has started, we've already started our role. We're helping that product owner get ready for a successful meeting. And when they come in, leave it to the product owner to lead it. Behind the scenes, just nudge things along at the right time. Your product owner will want to discuss things in a particular order. That's great. The developers may have a different order. They can work that out. Okay? Be aware of conflict. Expose it. Don't dampen it. But do it early. Let them have those conversations. Well, I thought we'd start here. I wanted to start here. Well, how about we start with A and we move on to B? Okay? Be the person who suggests time boxes if things are dragging on. But you want the product owner to say, here's my list of stuff that we need to talk about. How about we start item number 1? It's the most important thing for me to understand where it appears in the backlog. This is the new stuff maybe. That's always a nice one to start with. Let's go through these quite quickly, and then we're going to come back and we're going to look at the things that are likely to be in the next sprint or two. Some sort of structure. Let them lead it. Okay. Your job now is to provoke a conversation. If one doesn't naturally start, I will invariably ask questions. What they are is highly context dependent, but there will be things like, what skills are needed for this? And I get the team thinking about, do we have all the skills necessary? Heck, ask a really straight question. What capacity is that going to take? As the conversation flows, and it will, you've got people interested in the problem and solving it. Okay, your job is to wait for that lull. Just let the conversation go. As long as they're inside their time box, you can just say, okay, there's a lull in the conversation. It sounds like we've asked and answered all the questions that are immediately in front of us. Let's size this. Okay, good old planning poker cards or whatever you're using. Get them out. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Get a size on it. Okay, it's a really good sign that people are understanding the same problem if they're coming up with similar numbers. If they're wildly divergent, the poker game is a great way of exposing the thinking, highest and lowest talk about what they're thinking and why they're thinking about that, another round of conversation will kick off inevitably. Okay? I would never size something more than 3 times in a single session. Not because it's not worth it, but if they can't agree on the 3rd time, there's obviously more work that needs doing, and that can be taken out and done separately. We've identified this one is a bit tricky, so let's put it to one side and move on. Don't get bogged down in the whole refinement session on one item. You want to get through a fair few. You have a lot to do in your backlog. It all needs to be looked at. So this is what we're doing, is we're moving the conversation forward and we're prompting the conversation. I've mentioned time boxes a few times. One of the key things as a Scrum Master you can really do to help is get the team to stick to them. Help them understand the importance of working inside a short period of time. It might be 15 minutes, it might be 5 minutes. It will depend on how quickly your team move, how small those items are, how well they understand everything. But get them used to the idea that a short conversation, incredibly focused, is better than a long and meandering conversation. Because in an hour's time box, if everything is 5 minutes, we've got 12 opportunities. If it's 20 minutes, we've only got 3 things we can talk about. And that's important. So as a Scrum Master, step 1, if you can be somewhere else and refinement works, be somewhere else. But particularly in the early days, you'll likely want to be in that room. So step 2, make sure your product owner is ready. Step 3, make sure conversations happen inside a useful time frame. And step 4, make sure that they are prompted to estimate items, because that creates a deeper level of conversation. If you follow those steps, you hold it all together with standard facilitation skills, your refinement sessions will become more effective and hopefully a bit more fun for everybody involved. If you've got to this point in the video, I hope you've enjoyed it. If so, a like would be appreciated. If you want to hear more from me, more answers to questions that maybe you've got in the Agile world, please subscribe to the channel. And if you've got a question that you really want answered, drop it in the comments. I promise we'll get around to it. Thank you.